Hi, my name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED with Q5 Ham Radio. Many of you follow the Contest Crew series. The feedback about the crew has been overwhelmingly positive. Thank you for that. We built a loyal following and have covered a lot of ground, but one theme keeps coming up. We tend to be, understandably, North America-centric. So I'll get right to it. Tonight we're bringing you the Contest Crew, Europe Edition. I've had the chance to have solo interviews with each of the operators I'm about to introduce. I have the highest respect for all of them. They bring a wide range of experience and insight about the wide world of contesting. Joining me tonight are Braco E77DX, Sven DJ4MX, Mike SJ2W, Dave 9A1UN, Filipe CT1ILT, and Kris ES7A. You'll learn more about them soon. But first, a quick word of thanks to our sponsor, DX Engineering. Whether you're building a station from scratch or squeezing performance out of your portable setup, DX Engineering has the gear and the expertise to help. Visit dxengineering.com to learn more. Braco, since you've been the most persistent voice about this idea, why don't you tell our audience how you're thinking about it?
Thank you very much for inviting all of us here, and I'm very excited about this. Definitely the topics on the Contest Crew were very interesting. And it was always nice to hear the comments after each contest and to see US perspective of every contest and what's happened. But somehow I was missing some comments on some competition, in particular, let's say last CQ worldwide results, for example, of TK0C and so on and so on. So there were many things which were stay behind and being not commented, and I think we will try to solve that problem somehow here with all those operators across the Europe, from west to east, from north to south. And we'll see how it's going to go. And I hope that everyone is going to like it.
Well, I think it's going to go well. And I do appreciate, Braco, that you really pushed this through because, let's face it, this is a global hobby. And even talking to anybody in the US, your names come up a lot, other names come up. So I think this is a great idea. You know, what I'd like to do is just go around the room pretty quickly. And if you could each introduce yourself and tell a little bit about yourself and maybe even add to Braco's perspective as to why you're here. Sven, why don't you start us off?
Thanks, Kevin. I'm Sven DJ4MX. Licensed since 2017, so not that long ago, but also contesting since then. And yeah, as Braco said, the topics from the Contest Crew were very nice, but mainly focusing the North America side, and I've also missed some things from Europe, especially some contests which are more in Europe, like the IARU HF in the summer here, and also because it's a huge community here in Europe as well, and I think if we can address some things for the European community, we can help contesting grow all over the world, and especially also Europe.
Thank you, Sven. Dave, you want to take it next?
I'm Dave 9A1UN. Happy to see you all of you here. I think it's something that we need in Europe because the original Q5 is quite with the Contest Crew. It's a lot of fun, and but it's very US centric. So having something like that into Europe, it's going to be quite funny for, I think, quite the European audience. As I said, I'm Dave. I'm in ham radio since I'm born, practically doing contesting last 30 years. I really enjoy being here with these guys, and when I see their faces on the screen, this is a crew that I would like to have on my QTH to do a contest multi-op. It would be great.
Well, maybe we can make that happen. That's a good starting point, Dave. Mike, you want to jump in?
I'm Mike. I SJ2 Whiskey. I've been contesting since 97 or so almost coming up to 30 years. And I kind of agree with the previous guys. I think a European contest crew can bring a lot of different views on things, because I mean we have different propagations, and I think it's a good mix too between Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Northern and Southern Europe. So it's gonna be fun.
And Kris?
Yeah, I'm Kris ES7A, and also I've been, I can say I've been most of my life ham radio operator, and it kind of runs in the family thanks to my dad and my granddad. And the only thing I love about ham radio is contesting. So it's yeah. And about the chat we're having here, I think it was only a matter of time that eventually it would happen. So, and it's nice to be part of the team, and I'm happy to represent North together with Mike SJ2 Whiskey.
And Filipe, I'm really looking forward to getting you back on camera. It's been a long time since you and I first did that solo interview. That was in the beginning of Q5, back when we were W1DED. So introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, so my name is Filipe CT1ILT, and also known as CR6K. I represent the western part of Europe, of course, and of course it's a pleasure to be part of this European crew, which I think for me is the best of the best, or at least big part of the best operators of in Europe. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun having this Euro perspective in the big contests too, like CQ Worldwide, WPX, and also some other contests like World Call European, which are pretty interesting. So I think especially with the experience of everyone here present, I think we'll have some fun talking about propagation in Europe and scores, of course, European records, which are pretty interesting to watch too, and so on. So I think we'll have some fun on over the next episodes.
You know, and just to be clear too, I think it's going to be great that we have the European perspective, and there is actually a very good European following to Q5. But I also know that people in North America are very interested in meeting you and understanding your personalities and hearing how you approach contesting. So I think there's something in this for everybody. You know, I wanted to move into the IARU World HF Championship, which is coming up very soon, but you've all sort of made me think that we've missed some things over the last couple of months. So I guess I want to throw it back to anybody who wants to take it, and you can all address this. What should we know in North America about the WPX from a European perspective, the contest where Braco did a great job competing with Kris KL9A, and I covered that pretty well. But what else should we know about the WPX?
My perspective is that CQ Worldwide WPX is not the same as the CQ Worldwide. So the North American participation is way down, and unfortunately from Europe, it's hard to beat against, of course, Caribbean guys and African guys, but the amount, the percentage of North American activity, I think it's getting actually down, and so we see a lot of difference between the scores, and of course it's not like CQ Worldwide, which is amazing, and we can work big percentage of North America, at least in the western part of Europe, and I think it's a really big point to talk about, because I think it's not like being in the Caribbean, where you can work very easily US, and the amount of participants will focus maybe on working closer stations and stronger. I don't know what the perspective of the other guys, but at least on the western part, it's we see the difference.
I mostly agree, but the other thing is that if we take like CQ Worldwide WPX-CW, which is like late May, then sadly late May the propagation is a bit different, and this is why, for example, if we take this year and the ones who worked on 10 meters, they I think up here we had like 0 QSOs to the stateside on 10 meters. 15 was like more or less promising, but not sure how it was down south. But March normally is, I'd say it's more or less fun.
For us, it's May is really hard because we have like 2 hours of darkness. So we have no chance on 40 meters. And you get 6 points on 40, so it's kind of hopeless in WPX-CW for us. But in in SSP, it's a different story. I mean, that's optimal propagations. And I've lobbied a while for it. It would be fun if they could have like CQ Worldwide and WPX, if they could alternate, like every second year you have CW in March, and every second you have in May. That would be fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a nice
Pretty
idea.
funny to hear Filipe complaining about the conditions in North America. So.
Yeah, I was thinking the exact same thing.
Like, what are you talking about, man?
He used to work only United States. Now in WPXCW he needs to turn the antenna to Europe as well.
Yeah. This is why we are rebuilding.
I actually remember watching. I know you upload, Philippe, some of the videos, those first-hour videos, and I was watching that. Whether it was the first-hour video or the second hour, and I was just wondering, like, how many stateside you actually log compared to me, and it was like more than double the difference. So yeah.
Actually, this year I started on 15, which is quite rare. And I was impressed. I was actually going to say, man, this is going to be the year, but actually no. Even if the conditions were quite good, 10 meter was really bad. And so, I kept on 15 for a while, and I said, man, this is great. But all of a sudden, you need to move to 40, and that's it. Because if you lose the 40 meter opening to US, then it's dead. Because 6 points really make the difference. So
yeah, you have to go on the low bands in WPX. How many in North America did you work on 10, Filipe?
Very few, actually, about 10 or 15. So,
Okay.
Thursday evening, there was an opening at midnight on 10 meters, and I was really, really anxious about this because, when you see the 10-meter band open such late at night, you say, man, it's going to be the record here. But unfortunately, when you get to the contest, it's really the opposite.
It's always before the contest, the conditions are great, and then during the contest,
it's amazing. So
conditions are down.
So Milan's record is gonna stay for I think at least for a while now.
I've only heard stories about them being great, and it was back in 2000. So yeah, I was way too young for that.
Sven, what was your experience in the WPX?
It was a good experience. Very nice score from home. But yeah, 10-meter conditions were not very good. I think I didn't even make 100 QSOs on 10 meter, I believe. I think only one North American. I tried to focus on 20 and 40, and that worked out very well. And as the guy said, you have to work more, or you work more Europe. You try to work the most prefixes, and I've also thought that the North America activity was not like super great. I've missed some easy prefixes, I think. And but Asia activity was surprisingly well, I believe, and it was a very, very nice contest for me. Yeah, with I think 6 point something million from home. It was the largest score ever from the home station.
And Braco, are you just over it? Are you done talking about your experience, or do you have anything to add?
Well, I made last contest from Africa, but actually, WPXCW is a hard one when we are operating from this part of Europe, let's say Austria or Bosnia. It's not easy. We don't have that, let's say, that short skip, which is very good, like let's say Bulgarian or even the people in North on the high bands. So we are just keeping up the, let's say, bigger part of southern Germany and so on. And for WPX CW, it's not always the best one. But for us, one of the best contests is definitely WPX SSB. So since I am operating WPX almost every year, I could every year increase the score. And I remember making close to 20 million first time from Europe. I was like, oh, this is gonna happen never ever. And then remember last year when we have quite a nice battle.
It was fun. It was fun. Yeah.
That was very, very close finish, and that was like an unbelievable score. You know, I remember like 10 years ago that the best score was made by OK1RI, which was like 10 million plants or something like that, and many of us struggled to get there. And then year after year, the scores did grow, and I don't know really what's going to be the next one, but we will see. Definitely for us, WPX SSB is one, of course, yeah, the participation in CQ Worldwide SSB and CW is totally different. But WPX SSB, it's more, I would say, at least from my point of view, not because of the phone. It's much more fun than CW.
And Dave from 9 Alpha 1 Papa, what's your take on WPX?
No, I have to say it's because of the phone. You have to say it, Braco.
Is
It's because of the phone.
Now you're up, Dave.
Yeah, well, I was single up 40 meters, which wasn't actually
Sleeping Beauty.
probably a good choice, but I had no antennas to east at the moment on the station, so I had only antennas on 40 meters to all directions. And it was quite fun for the first 2 hours, and then after that it was just low rate and steady but low. And the biggest part is that you see the spots coming all over the world because you're heard for most of the contest by all North American beacon, West beacon networks, by all Asian, by all Pacific, but nobody replays. You're like 20 over or 30 dB of sound to noise in Zulu Lima, and nobody cares. You just call CQ for most of the time. But it was a struggle to do that 30 hour per hour queues. But at the end, it's fun because you work almost everybody that gets in the band, and it was a nice competition with guys on the live scores. We were quite tight time to time, so at the end it was funny. But for WPX. SSB is the real contest in Europe. CW is, at least for our QTH in our position, it's very hard. As Beatrice said, there is no skip on the upper bands, and the daylight is too wide, too short night hours, and that's it. But conditions were quite good, but activity is way down, and I'm afraid. Hopefully not, but I'm afraid it's going to be. We are getting each year lower and lower in WPXCW with the activity.
Well, as part of our job here, we need to shift that a bit. So I promise you guys, we're going to talk about the IARU because that's the premise of getting you all together. But you're all talking about contests you don't like and you do like, and Mike, you want to move a contest. I'm curious. Just go around. If you could only do one contest a year, what would it be?
We don't have any doubts. CQ Worldwide CW.
It's a hard one for me between SSB and CW because propagations for us are a little bit better in SSB. On CW, it's a little bit too dark. In summer, it's too bright, but in CW, it's too dark. So the band isn't open as long for us. So I think I will say CQ Worldwide SSB because of propagations.
It took you a while to get there, but okay.
Yeah.
Kris?
I'm deciding now between, I would probably go with the CQ Worldwide CW, but I really, really do like the IARU as well. It's like almost midsummer here. It's I don't mind the 24 hours, and in recent years I've been trying to figure out this new strategy to start with 2PS IQ SSB, which actually has been quite good. But then, like Mike says, the propagation drops and that's it.
Dave?
CQWW, but SSB or CW is hard to tell. SSB it's much better propagation, and but CW it's more fun. So I don't know. It's a hard choice. I would switch over LTTY with CW weekends, and then it would be amazing contest calendar, but it doesn't change.
Sven?
Yeah, probably also CQ Worldwide CW, but that's when I operate from home. But I don't know, probably if I could do like a SSB from a top location, I think that would be also up there, yeah.
So you're looking for an invite, okay. Braco?
Dave already gave you one.
Braco?
Definitely, I do enjoy that BICQ stuff a lot, but for me, it's, let's say, I think I can make much more on SSB than on CW. So I would not say I'm bad on CW or something like that, but definitely CQ Worldwide SSB is my favorite one.
So let's dive into the IARU. We'll finally move into this.
Chris,
Could you give us just an overview for any listener who may not know what that contest is? Give us a broad overview and a broad sense of the rules of the exchange.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, it's compared to all the 48-hour contests, this one is like half shorter, 24 hours, and starts 12. It doesn't start at midnight. It starts at midday, UTC, and instead of those ZQ zones, we have ITU zones, and we have was it like 90 of them, I believe? So twice as more than twice as we have in CQ. CQ worldwide, and we also have extra those headquarters stations that also count as a multiplier on every band. So it's actually quite fun because there's a lot to catch, and I personally believe that the 24 hours is. I've recently noticed that over the past years, normally I get into the rhythm after 24 hours. It's like when you're getting close to that 30th hour or like 35 hours into the contest, you get the real rhythm, and the feeling that I have with IARU is that after 24 hours, I'm like, wow, it's done.
You want more?
I would love to have exactly. Let's have some more. Yes, but overall, I mean, it's nice to have such contest compared to the classic ones that we have, plus those wintertime CQ 160s that we also have. Because if we talk about this work called Europe contest, which is a completely other story, then I believe it's nice to have that IARU in between, and it's not too long. It takes still much effort, and like I mentioned before, it's when it starts at midday. From up here, it's you can basically at least for the recent years, I've been able to run 10 and 15 simultaneously, which normally, if the contest starts at midnight, you cannot start on 10 and 15. You need to choose those lower bands. So it's nice to start on the higher bands.
So I'd like to get a sense of what all your plans are, where you're operating from. And Filipe, I'll start with you. You were saying before the cameras turned on that you're in a rebuild at your station. So where does that leave you for this contest?
I'm out.
That was simple.
So
let's go single up.
No, this time I'll pass this one because we are completely rebuilding the station. So we have a lot of work ahead of us. So we want to have the station ready for beginning of maybe mid-September. So we have all testing done for the CQ Worldwide SSB. So this is the goal. And we started a couple of, let's say, we started a month ago, or maybe 1.5 months ago. But we're getting there. So we're doing a good job.
And Dave?
We're going to be part of the 980 Telco back team. We will be probably on 20 SSB. And over the years, it was mostly HQ or the WRTC years, which I was on WRTCs. And I think I did it just once or twice, a single opal band for qualifying events, and it's a lot of fun actually. But I don't like summer propagation. It's penalizes our location quite a lot. But it's a lot of fun because a lot of station in a short time, and then it's there are no hours without good rates. So it's a fun contest, but as I said, we usually do it as a headquarters station. So I don't really have much to say about that because then you're focused on just one band, one mode, and it's You just will work everybody who shows up, and that's it.
I hope it's 40 SSP for you.
Now we're gonna be on 20.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not sure. Over the past years, I've never actually done this contest like quite seriously. Usually just a few hours, and that's because always around that weekend I have my exams in university, so or had them in the past years. So I've always done like a couple of hours in the contest, and this year actually I maybe have some time because I only have one exam, but I'm still need to see when that exam is. Yeah, maybe I'll do a couple more hours this year from home. And yeah, what I experienced in the past years, if you like run from a smaller station like we have at home, you can actually have like a lot of fun calling CQ. Not unlike CQ worldwide in the bigger contests, because like everybody works everybody, and I think the activity is like not like so overcrowded that the people search for like exceptional call signs or something, so they would just work anybody. So you can actually have a lot of fun even with a small station.
And Mike?
We usually do a part of the Swedish HQ station, so we've been the last few years, we've been 20 SSB and 15 CW, and we do some 10 meters because if we can get pretty good sporadic openings up here when it opens up to the whole Europe. So we usually are like on standby on 10, so we can jump in if it's needed, if it opens up. But I gotta say that Sven has got the wrong priorities if he prioritizes school before contest.
I was thinking about that too.
Yeah.
You know, the interesting thing about IARU, it's those HQ competition, yeah, and this is in Europe like crazy stuff. We have many levels of the competitions there. You know, you know, German are well organized. They're have all the time battles for the French or Spain guys or whatsoever. And there is a lots of activity from Europeans. So I think I don't know how many QSO Filipe made last year, 4,500, something
Yeah,
like
something
that.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is like in 24 hours. This is a lot, and I made like 4,200 something or 300. I don't remember. And it's a fast contest, simple exchange, like only zone or those HQ multipliers which are known. So it's give you a lots of thrill, and you have SSB CW, so you can many multipliers to hunt and so on and so on. It's as well a strategic one because you have only let's say one night and you need to use it very smart. So it's very, let's say, funny contest and difficult contest to win, and you have quite a good chances. I would not say to win against EA8 or CT3, but you have very good chances from Europe to make a nice score.
just to stop you there, didn't three of us were like top three last year, like single up all band? Because I think the fourth one was, wasn't it N6MJ from November Delta 7 Kilo?
Could be. I didn't look on the results. I forgot it to look at. I just reviewed the records in the front of this conversation, and but I know we were like all three of us were very close, and it was very nice competing and hunting Filipe once again. And so the HQ competition lock many stations. There are so many Germans on the air. There are so many Polish on the air. So many French stations on the air, and this make the contest, at least here in Europe, like very funny. If you are HQ station, it's we have as well on the Balkan, like when we are organized like HQ, then you're competing against Croatian or against Slovenian or Yankee tangos or whatever, and that's another level of fun. This year we're going to be probably multi-single if part of the team, I think everyone did agree, so we're going to run from E7DX multi-single, and we'll see if there is any 10 meter conditions. Maybe we can catch up with that RU1A score from last year, which is a particularly European record. And we'll see how it's going to be. There is nothing special on E7DX, so we did some works in the past.
One thing to say is that we are pretty penalized in zone 28 compared to others that are not 28. So it's hard to compete.
Yeah, we have a
29
benefit.
or whatever.
I think we have to probably say that the scoring is like a bit different than in other contests. That same continent but different zone gives you more points than same continent, same zone. And I think 28 is like the main zone in
most active zone, definitely.
Yeah, most active zone in Europe. Yeah.
Not in Europe, in the whole contest.
Or yeah, in the whole contest as well.
Is 20. Most of the activities from zone 28. So if you're in zone 27 or 37 or 18, you're definitely on the right place to be. But on other hand, it depends which category you enter. But on other hand, you can easily score many QSOs on 80 meter or 40 meter or 160, which are, let's say, for example, for those people up in North, not possible. And as well, I think the Filipe struggles to catch up with lots of stations, let's say, which are more to east than Germany. And for us, in being, let's say, in Central Europe, it's very easy to work both sides on any band. A little bit disadvantage because of the skip, but it's okay.
I think we have a pretty good advantage in IARU because we have always good Euro propagations because we're so far north. So it's a benefit for us, and we're in zone 18, so it's good.
Well, one thing I would add is, let's say if we take the lower bands like 80 and 160, okay, 80 more or less is still fine, but if we go to 160, then at least I'm struggling. Okay, the German headquarters station is normally always louder there, but if we go like further down south to like Spain or even Italy, it probably may be a headache like to get the ARI mult on 160 because they just don't hear us anymore.
Yeah, just like me working Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah, 160 is a struggle in the summer. It's very hard. Yeah.
You're not allowed to complain, Phil.
So for any listener who doesn't know this, the WRTC, the World Radio Sport Team Championship, overlaps with the IARU. So in 2026, I guess the question I have for you guys is, who's qualified? Who's going as a team member? Do you know yet?
Yep.
What I will do during this contest, since I heard that Filipe is not there and Braco is thinking of some stupid multi-single thing, is it really time for me? Like, oh my god! But no, I actually had plans with Kris ES7A. Even though I'm like deeply considering calling him tomorrow, that it's a cancel. But yeah, I already qualified. At least I have the points. Of course, those final results are yet to come. And what we're trying is Kris will come up here and we will try this multi-tool low power style. And we will probably stick to only one tri-bander antenna like it is during the WRTC. So we'll see how it goes, but that's the initial plan.
You're starting pretty soon.
I need to figure out some stuff still, and it's nice to give it a try. Even though we've been sitting together like quite a lot of times at ES9 Charlie Station, and I know he's a go-to guy, but there's still some things that probably what we need to figure out, and it's probably the best contest to do so.
By the way, we need Tono back in the contesting.
I actually I called him a few days ago because normally the problem I'm now changing the subject, the Friedrichshafen always is during the same weekend as our Estonian ham radio festival. And I called him a few days ago, and he's somewhere in Far East right now, I believe. So he's having his own stuff right now. But he will be back. He promised he will be back. And I heard some strange stories that he met with Ranko also a few days ago, and they have some big great plans. I'm trying to see.
Oh, okay. Curious about that.
WRTC, who else is going?
I plan to.
I should be okay with the points. So there is a plan like with Vlado E70T, but I don't know. I need to talk to him. It may change. So I have some idea which I still cannot say now. But we'll see. So if everything goes according to plan, so I should be the team lead, and well, there will be nothing new or nothing old, like same equipment, same stuff like in Italy, and easy going. So.
Anybody else planning on going?
Yeah, I probably will go. It's quite it's quite a story behind it, but it's too long to explain here. I have the
Give us the short version. You can't leave us with that.
Yeah.
We decided to try to qualify from the bot station, two of us, and we agreed that one should be in front of the other, and we managed to do it. But it's just one per country, so we're going together anyhow, and it just depends how will the things go in the next year or so.
So the Mirko is in the front of you, right?
No, he's not here. Yeah, you mean on the board? Yes.
Oh, obviously, I have not qualified, but I plan to go there just for visiting, helping, and yeah.
Maybe you will get invitation, Sven.
I think you will be in the competition probably, but okay.
I'm known as a hermit, so I usually don't come to these events, but I'm actually considering going this time.
Because the only thing we see from Mike is those pictures he always creating something or thrilling or whatnot.
We should establish a medal for Mike when he moves below 16 worth. Then he can get some special prize.
Yeah, but I'm very jealous on all those machines, what he used there, no matter what. In the workshop or outside, so it's, I would say this is something...
Jealous of the machines. We are jealous of the towers and the antennas.
Well, gentlemen, I really appreciate your time joining the call tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
It was a
Thank
pleasure
you,
to be here.
Thank you very much.
My name is Kevin Thomas, W1DED, and this is the first, I hope, of many Contest Crew Europe edition. I've been joined by Braco E77DX, Sven DJ4MX, Dave 9A1UN, Mike SJ2W, Kris ES7A, and Filipe CT1ILT. Thank you, guys. Have a good evening. 73.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys.